Hello everyone, what's going on? I'm Gareth, the Master974 back again today, and welcome to another Valve source code tutorial follow-up video, the first one of 2026. And today I'm going to be following up on the console messages tutorial that I did quite a long time ago. In fact, it was the very first tutorial of this tutorial series. If you don't count episode 0, it was episode 1. And this was way back in the day when I didn't even do any audio editing, so you heard all the background noise and all of the clickety-clackety sounds and stuff that I edit out nowadays, because you really don't want to be hearing that stuff. I know I don't want to. But I'm going to try and keep this video short and sweet today, because I really don't have that much to follow up on. And the first thing I'm going to be talking about is extra sort of percent symbol things that you can do with message commands. So I only covered %I and %F and %S in the original tutorial, but you can do way more. As you can see here, I created a file called console messages, which is already on the GitHub, but I'm going to be updating it. So you can do stuff like %U for an unsigned integer, %D for a signed integer, %O for an octodecimal integer, %X for a hexadecimal integer, %E to have a floating point number in scientific notation, %A for a hexadecimal floating point number, %C for a character, %P for a pointer, and %% to print the percent symbol. And you can also have length sub-specifiers. So for example, %LLU is what you would use for an unsigned long. In other words, an unsigned 64-bit integer or a uint64. And you can put %hashtag in front of X or O to get the 0x or 0 in front of a hexadecimal or octodecimal value respectively. So if you wanted more information, then there you go. I mentioned booleans in the end of the tutorial that I did, episode 1, but you can just use %I for that, or %D, because the only values are 0 or 1. But let's get into why I wanted to actually make this video. It's because I figured out a way of printing colored messages to the console. So the crux of what you need to do, if I just pause the code around here, is that you can use concolor message or condecolor message. But I would say use concolor message. It's basically the same as message. If I hover over it, I might have to zoom in so you can see, but concolor message passes through a color, an AND color, so you pretty much specify what color you want without needing to rely on a color already existing. But then after that, it's a const t char asterisk pmsg. If you hover over msg, it just passes through a const t char asterisk pmsg. So it pretty much does the same thing. The only thing you need to do is pass through a color. So with the code I'm going to be updating onto my GitHub page, the color is going to be, well, random. The RGB values are going to be anything from 0 to 255 in the R, G, and B. But the key thing is with this, you need to specify the alpha of 255. Otherwise, I think with developer mode being set to 1 or 2 or higher, when you get the actual messages from the console in the top left-hand side of the screen, they won't actually show up correctly if the alpha is not 255. So that's what you need to do. But as you can see here, I pretty much have the same messages, just that using concolor message or condecolor message. Now, according to the descriptions, concolor message needs to have developer set to 1 for them to be visible, and condecolor message needs developer set to 2. But even with developer set to 1, you see both of these messages. Of course, if developer is 0, then you're going to have issues. So I created a little bit of a failsafe up here. Just basically find the convar called developer, and if it's lower than 1, then you see I've done a custom message here, and that's if you want to, for example, define a concolor message in a bit of a fancier way by using hashtag define, and then you can call it whatever you want, put in brackets ... and then after that concolor message, the color that you want, and then after that the text that you want. So in my case, I just put MSG. And then after that, this __va _args __. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but that's what the gamepad UI does. So if you see here, that's pretty much the way that it's defined for the gamepad UI. Just goes off the screen a little bit, but you can kind of see what happens here. Or if you want to be like the animated background menu, which also uses color message, you can use this style instead, where you use VA list and VA start and stuff like that. But it pretty much does the same sort of thing. Even you can see here it does %s with the buff, and the buff is the message that you end up wanting to pass through and print to the console. Now, one thing that I haven't mentioned is, as I say here, you have to include the file somewhere by doing #include console messages, and then somewhere, somehow call upon the print random variables function, so you get to see all of this in action. So I've just done this in gamerules.cpp. This isn't going to be updated on the GitHub, by the way, but you actually want to do #include of ../../ general, because that is the folder that contains console messages.h. So just make sure it points to the correct place. And I've just created a static con command, print console variables, and that uses the print random variables function. And that's pretty much what you could do to actually make this available in game. So if I were to compile the code, launch into a mod, and you can see this in action, that every time I call upon print console variables, inside of a section that will say start random variables and end random variables, there'll be all of the stuff that I showed you, from the unsigned integer, the signed integer, the hexadecimal floating point value, the pointers, and all of that stuff would be in different colors. The reason why I've done it this way is in case you actually find a color that you like, then you can pretty much use that, and the code even provides the RGB values for you. So if you find a color that you like and you want to use the macro method, then you can use the RGB values that the console will provide for you. So I just wanted to do that today, just to let you know that there is a way that you can customize the messages somewhat, that you can print to the console in different colors instead of just using MSG, warning, and dev message. So hopefully you found this somewhat helpful. Please let me know what you think, and sorry for screwing up with the audio as per usual, and hopefully the next video won't be too long and it will be an actual Valve source code tutorial, not a follow-up video. Take care out there, peace out, see you later, have a great day, and see you next time for whatever I decide to do next.